This just in, President Trump's Iran negotiators, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, they're in Doha right now expected to meet with the Qatari Prime Minister. They will not be meeting with Iran today, despite President Trump saying that was exactly what they would do. This round of talks, pretty important given the weekend full of fresh military strikes traded between the United States and Iran. It seems those strikes have Congress maybe preparing for a reality that the war could be ramping back up. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke to USA Today, suggesting that if the ceasefire falls apart, he believes Trump could get a fresh 60-day clock for congressional approval. Here's the quote. "I suppose it would have to restart entirely. We ended Operation Epic Fury many weeks ago, and we had been in a period of peace. We're hoping that we can restore that so that there's not kinetic activity and ongoing warlike activities. We'll see." Joining me right now, CNN senior military analyst, the former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, retired Admiral James Stavridis. He's also the co-author of a new book, 2084, a novel of future war. Good to see you. Mike Johnson saying that Trump gets a clock reset if the MOU breaks down and the ceasefire falls apart. Can you gut check us? What do you think about that?
Legally supportable, but I think common sense says, boy, that's dodging around the issue. And let's look at the optimistic side for a second. I still think there is a 65% chance, as you and I have been talking about for a while now, Kate, that the deal holds together. But I think there's a 1 in 3 chance it falls apart. If it does, we're back in the deep fight. Bad option for the president, very expensive. And I think the Congress ought to have a serious check on that level of presidential power and not hide behind we took a temporary timeout.
Yeah. Witkoff and Kushner in Doha now. You know, it's been a jumble of messaging on what meeting was going to happen, with whom, at what time. But regardless, if conversations occur with Iran while they're over there this time, what do you set as kind of a reasonable expectation for this trip, given the fighting that occurred over the weekend?
First and foremost, what the administration's team is going to try and do is move the ball on keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. That's become, let's face it, job one, because it's directly tied to the global economy. Unfortunately, the Iranians feel quite full of themselves in terms of having leverage in this scenario. They know President Trump doesn't want to go back to combat. They know he will not put ground troops ashore. He's talked about both those. And therefore, they feel a lot of leverage, and they are going to try and exert control over the strait. They're doing that by occasionally taking shots at tankers. So at the end of the day, what Messieurs Witkoff and Kushner need to try and do is get an accommodation that truly, really leaves the strait open. And here's where I think it lands, Kate. I think there'll probably be a northern route that the Iranians will sort of watch over, but there'll be a southern route by Oman. And let's hope, final thought, let's hope that out of the NATO summit comes a commitment from the Europeans to participate in keeping that southern route open. That north-south split may be the best we can hope for.
So this kind of plays into what I was going to ask you next, which is Reuters is reporting that Iran's deputy foreign minister is essentially declaring that Iran and Iran alone would be in charge of carrying out a demining operation in the strait from the mines that they put in the strait. Yeah. This comes after France and Oman said that they wanted to collaborate to kind of get people involved to do it. What do you think of this?
I think it's a very bad idea to let the Iranians have complete control of the strait. It's a preposterous idea to put them in charge of demining it. That effectively makes them the fireman who can start a fire anytime he wants and then come in and try and put it out. They also don't have the capability to do the demining in a competent way. It's going to have to be the U.S. and the Europeans. And again, at this point, we might want to push for that north-south 2 routes. We take care of the southern one. We'll negotiate with the Iranians over time about fully opening, but we need to get that strait open.
I love that minor detail. We are the only ones who will be in charge of demining, but oh, we forgot to add, we don't have the equipment to do it. Admiral, it's great to see you. Thank you, always. It's always in the details. Sarah.
Yeah.